Hey everybody, it's Sam Amico with another edition, our first one of August ever in the history of the 330 to go HoopsWire Live NBA Cavaliers show. Welcome. Hope you're enjoying your summer. It's hard to believe it's almost over. Well, at least for the kids. I think about 2 weeks, kids go back to school. Some of you who are watching in states other than Ohio, your kids have already gone back to school. That's insane. I remember back in the day when I was in school, when we did our homework on chisel and granite, we usually didn't go back to school till after Labor Day. We were there till June, till like the first week of June, but we never went back till after Labor Day in early September. But times have changed. Some parents are thankful that the kids seem to go back earlier, although they get out earlier. I think they get out in before Memorial Day in May. So, either way, it's just interesting that it's all shifted. So, anyway, welcome. Hope you enjoy your last few weeks of summer before the kids go back to school, and you have something fun planned. We do. We have a vacation of sorts planned for, I think it's August 11th. So somewhere in there, which would be a week from Saturday, week from Sunday. So now when I'm leaving on vacation, let's talk a little bit about the Cavaliers. There's been some stuff, some news, more rumors and reports than actual activity. Although this past week, as we put on HoopsWire, Cavs kind of surprise here. Signed Jarrett Allen to a contract extension, 3-year contract extension. They had already signed Donovan Mitchell, already signed Evan Mobley, and now they've locked up Jarrett Allen, which was a good signing, really, for both sides, particularly for the Cavs. They're not looking to trade Jarrett Allen, but the contract they signed him to throughout the league is known as very tradable. And that's not something they would concern themselves with now. They're thrilled to have Jarrett Allen. He's thrilled to be playing for Kenny Atkinson and alongside Donovan Mitchell. And as long as Donovan Mitchell loves Jarrett Allen and Darius Garland, and he loves them both and loves playing with them both, despite all the rumors of this offseason, they're not going anywhere. Allen and Garland aren't going anywhere. At least not yet right now, going into the season. And we heard, some reports and rumors to the contrary. So, with this whole Jarrett Allen contract extension, that is basically the Cavs keeping him under Cavs control through this contract and keeping him happy. He's thrilled he got it. Who wouldn't be with a contract extension? And they're able to, gives them some flexibility. It also gives them flexibility under the salary cap. So it was a great situation. Kudos to Cavs president of basketball operations, Kobe Altman, for pulling this off, putting the Cavs in a good situation where they've created a sense of stability or, appreciation from their starting center. He's feeling that, and the Cavs have also managed not to kill themselves in terms of the salary cap and flexibility, in terms of their finances and what they're able to do moving forward. And yet they've locked up Jarrett Allen. So that's all great news for the Cavs. Now, that said, I know some of you are a little bit like, what are the Cavs doing? Why are they doing nothing? So far, they've done really nothing but lock up their own guys, right? And hire a coach, which is, theoretically a big deal in getting them to another level. But they're one of 3 teams, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the world champion Boston Celtics, and the somewhat floundering Los Angeles Lakers. Those 3 teams have not signed an outside free agent. They're the only 3 in the whole NBA. I believe the Miami Heat have, because I read that somewhere, but I don't know who that would be. I haven't looked at their roster lately, but supposedly they have signed an outside free agent. It might be just a guy to a two-way deal. But the Cleveland Cavaliers have not done that. Now, right now, everybody's asking me when it comes to Cavs questions, what's going on with Isaac Okoro? It's a great question. I have no idea. I will say this. The closer we get to training camp, which is still, first week October, usually media days, the last day of September, first week October is training camp. So they have some time. They've got, really it's about 8 weeks until the start of training camp, I guess. Right? Because we're already at August 2nd. And I've written before and said before that I feel like the Cavs and Isaac Okoro situation could drag on until training camp. Could be resolved today. I doubt it, but it could drag on till training camp. Situation is he's a restricted free agent, which means anybody can offer him any sort of deal, and then the Cavs could match that offer because he's a restricted free agent. Okoro also has a qualifying offer, which makes him a restricted free agent. He can just pick up that qualifying offer, which I'm starting to think is going to be the case. He'll pick up the qualifying offer, and then he'll be an unrestricted free agent next summer if he does that. He's kind of betting on himself if that's the situation, because he won't have a contract beyond this next season. Now, if he does that, which I'm starting to think is going to be the case, then all of a sudden he becomes a trade chip. He's kind of a sign and trade candidate right now. But if he picks up that qualifying offer that gives him a contract for next season, and anybody on an expiring contract is automatically a trade chip. That doesn't mean the Cavs are going to be desperately looking to move Isaac Okoro. It just means come the trade deadline, they can, kind of assess their season at that point in February. And then they could trade Isaac Okoro if they feel like, well, we don't know that we're going to be able to re-sign him. We feel like we might be able to live without him and still succeed without him. Those are kind of the worst case scenarios. The best is, okay, he's playing very well. We're going to work out a longer deal with him come summer, or maybe before summer, say a 2 or 3 year deal next summer. So there's a lot at play there. There's also the possibility of this summer, the Cavs working out a sign and trade. We've heard the Brooklyn Nets are interested. The Detroit Pistons are definitely interested. The Utah Jazz have a ton of interest. I've even heard the Lakers more recently have some interest. So the possibility exists that one of these other teams offer Isaac Okoro a contract. Cavs feel as if, matching wouldn't make sense. So they move him in a sign and trade and get back another player and potentially probably a second round pick, something like that. It wouldn't be a splashy move if they make a sign and trade. I can tell you that because the Cavs don't have draft picks to offer somebody, say, like the Nets, who are really seeking them. The Utah Jazz, who are really seeking them, have a ton of Cavs picks anyway because of the Donovan Mitchell trade. I'm sorry I have just a regular, plain, boring coffee mug and not something with a Cavs or NBA logo on there. I'm working with Steve, the producer, to get him to send me something that we can show on the show, because goodness knows I'm too cheap to buy one myself. So that's really the situation with Isaac Okoro. Could he be back? I'm thinking he will be, probably on a qualifying offer. Somebody could come out of the blue here, though, and offer him a deal where the Cavs are kind of forced to sign and trade him, or feel like that would be better than matching. I think if that were going to happen, it would have happened already. Because we're a month now into free agency, and Isaac Okoro is the only restricted free agent left on the market. There are a lot of free agents left, veteran free agents. They're all unrestricted. Isaac Okoro, the only one in the entire NBA who is still who holds the status of restricted, again, meaning that the Cavs could wait for somebody else to sign him and match the offer or go the sign and trade route. And I think the fact that we're a month into this and nobody's really, made an offer, nobody's made an offer to Isaac Okoro, I think that gives me a sense that he's going to be back, just knowing, previous situations where I've covered the Cavs and they've had restricted free agents who have lasted a month into free agency. Most of them end up returning for at least a season. Now, before I get into one other potential free agent, one thing to think about with Okoro is if he resigns or if he's back, and I know they're different kind of players, I would be surprised. That's going to cut into rookie Jalen Tyson's opportunity because Okoro is going to, obviously he's more of a small forward where he would back up Max Strus, but he'd also play some backcourt minutes. A lot of it depends on, we'd have a training camp battle with Okoro, LeVert, Jalen Tyson, the rookie, the number 20 overall pick. Those guys would be battling for minutes. Sam Merrill, obviously very different type of games and different type of situations. But if you're Kenny Atkinson, you're a new coach, you're going to be lucky to play 10 guys most games. You play 10, sometimes in regular season 11. What an Okoro situation would do, or having Jalen Tyson does, and having Karis LeVert, and having Sam Merrill, and having all those guys, is that you're able to, you have depth, right? You have guys who have, other than Tyson, guys who have NBA experience. And we know during the regular season, there are always a ton of injuries, ton of guys sitting out with one thing or another. These are real injuries. So you need depth. You need depth at every spot. And right now, for me, the Cavs, obviously, with getting the Okoro situation resolved, they've got to find some big men, backup big men. I'm sure they're on the lookout. I don't think Isaiah Mobley is going to be back. Not that he offered a whole lot in terms of bigs, but two key bigs, particularly Tristan Thompson and Damian Jones. When I say key, I mean these are the guys who filled in and played when Jarrett Allen was injured or, Evan Mobley was out. Those guys saw the floor then. Usually when those guys were healthy, they didn't see the floor, but you still need to fill those spots. Tristan and Damian Jones aren't likely to be back. I don't know that Tristan, after his suspension, I don't think the Cavs are going to be real interested in bringing him back when he had the suspension for whatever you want to call them, steroids, whatever. Missed, I think, 25 games because of that. I know his teammates were not real thrilled with that. Kind of laid into him a little bit. So I don't think Tristan will be back. I can almost assure you they're looking for an upgrade for Damian Jones, Isaiah Mobley. Pete Nance remains a unrestricted free agent. I suspect he'll be back with the Cleveland Charge of the G League and maybe in training camp. So Cavs are looking to add some big guys. How are they going to go about that? I think they'll wait till closer to training camp when they start sending out invites. I don't think there's a big splashy move to be made there. It's probably going to be a guy who you hope isn't playing, because if he does play, something goes wrong. Now, that said, all of a sudden today, I just posted on the website. By the way, on the website, we have the list of unrestricted and the one restricted free agent, Isaac Okoro. We have a full list of those on HoopsWire.com, restricted free agents and unrestricted free agents by position. You can check that out. You'll see everybody who's available that you've heard of. There are a lot of guys you may not have heard of that probably aren't on the list. There are some you haven't heard of that are on the list. I always say that list is for diehard NBA fans. So, and we get plenty of them visiting HoopsWire, and I'm guessing plenty watching this show. One of those unrestricted free agents played for the Cavs last year, and I just posted on the website that he is a candidate to return, and I think a pretty strong candidate to return. That would be Marcus Morris. We talked about him in previous episodes as I wondered how one gets the key to the city. Well, Marcus Morris has a key to his hometown of Philadelphia. What you do with that key, I'll never know. Because I know that the cities that I have lived in, whether it's Akron, Cuyahoga Falls, Copley, and Medina, I have yet to hear from any of them on delivering me a key. Marcus Morris, however, has a key to a huge city, and that's his hometown. Now, the 76ers and Cavs are both candidates to sign him. 76ers, he played with last season, and then after getting the key to the city in February, I believe it was, they waived him to make room for a trade or something along those lines. They loved him. So then he signed with the Cavs. He played 12 regular season games with the Cavs, played in the playoffs, did a real nice job, kind of brought an edge to the roster that needed one. He's 34 years old. He plays with a great amount of determination. He can knock down outside shots. He will get thrown out of games when, he feels like the opposition's being too rough with his teammates. He'll stand up for him. Cavs loved Marcus Morris. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, from Philadelphia, you would think they might be the front runner. But I think from everything I'm hearing, the Cavs would be the front runner for a Marcus Morris return. Now, he averaged like 6.7 points, 3 or 4 rebounds. These aren't gaudy numbers for all 49 games. Played 49 games last year, 37 with Philly, 12 with Cleveland in the regular season. And then he did some nice things in the playoffs too. So I think the Cavs would like to have him back. He's a good leader. He fits the culture. And that's a big thing with Kobe Altman. And I think their chances are pretty good. I think the Sixers are here and the Cavs are right here, a little bit above them. For one, he's probably going to get more playing time in Cleveland. Sixers just signed Paul George, Caleb Martin, Andre Drummond, Eric Gordon. So there's a team that did sign a lot of free agents, unlike the Cavs. Martin, Paul George, both play Marcus Morris' position. I'm not saying that that's going to be the huge factor, but it could lead him to decide to sign with Cleveland. Number two, and this isn't a huge deal, but I think it's something. The Cavs are prepared. The Sixers, let me start with the Sixers, can offer Morris, and all it sounds like they're going to Morris is the veterans minimum contract, which at age 34, I believe that's in the $2-3 million range a year. Probably a 1-year deal for $2.5 million. That would be my guess, is what the Sixers can offer. Cavs can offer him and are prepared to offer him almost twice that. So whatever the veterans minimum is, let's say it's $2.5 million. Cavs are prepared to be able to offer him like $4.5 million. Is that a big deal in the scheme of things when you're talking millions of dollars for Marcus Morris? He's already going to get millions. He's made millions. It's probably not a huge deal, but it's probably something. Be the Cavs. And you know what? The Cavs could say, look, Kenny Atkinson, the new coach, is big on you. Would love to have you come here. You're not going to ride the pine. Can be able to contribute to a team that we believe with a new coach and getting Evan Mobley to another level and getting Darius Garland back to normal can contend. And you're going to play most nights. Philly, it's your hometown. You got to take a hometown discount. Maybe that's more appealing to him. I don't know. But again, this isn't a huge splashy move, but the Cavs know they need to fill out the bench. Morris can play both small forward and power forward. That goes back to a need for big guys. He's not going to play, he's not going to be out there guarding Paolo Banchero from the Orlando Magic, but he could guard Franz Wagner if he has to, So I think that those are things that in lieu of being able to sign big name free agents, which Cavs can't do, there aren't really any left anyway. Somebody like Marcus Morris would make sense. And it sure would beat, nothing. Or signing a rookie, a big man rookie. So I think most Cavs fans would like to have Marcus Morris back. Clearly the Cavs would, just not at any price, but probably more than he can get elsewhere. Another team that's interested in him, Detroit Pistons. If there are former Cavs out there or guys like Isaac Okoro who could be a former Cav, the Pistons are interested. It's because their coach, J.B. Bickerstaff, knows these guys. So yes, Pistons very real threat for Isaac Okoro. Probably less of a threat for Marcus Morris, although they've gotten a lot of veterans, the Pistons, this offseason. Tobias Harris, Paul Reed, both of those guys with the 76ers last year. Malik Beasley, the shooting guard who played for the Bucks, has played for the Lakers, Timberwolves, and Jazz. And the fact that I remembered all those off the top of my head means I really need to start getting out more. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But, the Cavs, if we're sticking to the Cavs theme, they're banking on familiarity going into next season. I know a lot of fans would like to see them go out and get Cam Johnson. I think that they would love to do that too. The 6'8" forward for the Nets who can shoot the lights out, who's widely available as the Nets gut that roster in a rebuild. With new coach Jordi Fernandez, who has a lot of Cavs connections, was their former G League coach, was an assistant with the Cavs. Nets hired him, and they're like, Jordy, congratulations on the new job. By the way, we're gutting the roster right now, so good luck with that. And when we stink because we've gutted the roster for draft picks, you're probably going to get the blame. But hey, if you're Jordi Fernandez, it's your first head coaching job, whatever. Do whatever you got to do. I'm just happy to coach whoever you put on the floor, knowing that in 3 years I'll probably be a goner because you've decided to gut the roster. So, the Cavs, very interested in Cam Johnson. I don't think there's any way they can get him unless they rope in a third team in some sort of Isaac Okoro sign and trade. The Charlotte Hornets have interest in Okoro. They have interest in Marcus Morris too, but the Cavs aren't going to be able to do a sign and trade with Morris. They're either going to sign him or somebody else will, and they're not going to sweat it if somebody else does. But Okoro could be a situation, can we work out a 3-team sign and trade to get Cam Johnson and have these other teams give the Nets picks? Probably not. But, if you're Kobe Altman, you're exploring all this. The NBA, for the most part, in August is out on vacation. If I try to get in touch with somebody in the NBA in August, not usually hearing back right away. I'll hear back middle, late September. So it's just us. It's me and you in the NBA right now. That's it. We don't know when to stop. But I'm glad that you are joining me and are as crazed about making sure we have this covered as I am. Because there are still some things to do for the Cavs. There's still some things to do in the entire NBA. Really, August is one of my busier months when it comes to not necessarily the website, but we went, like I said last week, when I explained my job a little bit, we try to get 10, 12 posts every day. August, that can be a challenge. There are not necessarily 10 or 12 things that are worthy of putting on the site. We actually try and get like 25, but August is just not going to happen unless we're doing 200 of those trade proposals, which Ashish Mathur, our other full-timer, writes plenty of. And again, some fans act annoyed by it, but we go, everything's based on numbers. It's just like television. People act annoyed with the Kardashians, but they watch because the numbers are great. So consider the trade proposals, these hypothetical trade proposals, the Kardashians of HoopsWire.com. It's not necessarily something that we're super proud to do, but guess what? It draws numbers, and, We're not going to just post anything for numbers because we could go a whole different route for that. But these trade proposals are fun to write. They're hypothetical, and it's basketball. It's meant to be fun. It's the way I look at it. And guess what? They're well read, and it's not just, it's not the only thing that's well read, but they're among the things. And during the downtime, I think they're fun for fans to, discuss and probably get angry about. Some fans, whenever we post them on Facebook about the trade proposals, say like, "Oh yes, the Bulls definitely need to do that, or the Cavs definitely need to do that." Probably not going to happen, but there was one trade proposal we wrote in like June. And I think it was Paul George to the Sixers. And even though that was more of a free agent deal, most of that came true. So clearly these NBA GMs are reading our trade proposals and saying, okay, let's go make a deal. I will tell you this. Former NBA player Anderson Varejao has told me he enjoys reading the trade proposals. I think he said it in Spanish, but when he typed it up, but I translated it to I'm enjoying the trade proposals. Or maybe he said I hate them and the translation was just wrong. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to keep doing those. And the reality is in August, it's one of my busier months. I'm writing like 5 at least team previews for Athlon Sports Magazine. They're putting out an NBA annual magazine, physical magazine, which will be probably mid-September. It'll come out. And Cavs are one of the previews that I'm writing. The Nuggets, the Pistons, and there's a few others in there that I'm sure I'll have to pick up. Well, it's August 2nd. Guess when they're due? August 10th. Guess how many I've started? Guess how many I'll probably be writing on August 9th? Hint, all of them. I may try to do a few before then, but I know me, and I'm very last minute. Ask anybody in my family. I'm the last one out the door. I'm not to take charge. Let's go. Let's get this done. Come on. We don't want to have to think about it. I'm like, dawdling. Dawdling is the word that my family uses. So some believe that the Cleveland Cavaliers are dawdling. They're not. They're just looking into what makes sense for them under the salary cap. Jarrett Allen, big surprise, got that contract extension, but I think that's huge for the Cavs. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell was their biggest, Evan Mobley, second biggest contract extensions. Jarrett Allen was third, but the fact they even bothered with Jarrett Allen right now, to me, was a big move because it just shows franchise stability. And that means a lot to players, especially players who are free agents that could say, you know what? Cleveland can't offer me much more than the veterans minimum, but for a year, it's worth a shot because this team shows commitment to the guys on the roster. Fans may not like that. We sometimes, fans and media, sometimes we'd like to see big splashy moves. If not one a summer. We want one a summer and one at the trade deadline. We want 2 huge splashy moves all the time if your team doesn't win a title. And I can guarantee you this. Celtics fans are complaining, well, why haven't we done anything? We're trying to defend the title. We haven't done anything. I know this because when I covered the Cavs in 2016, fans during that offseason were, well, the Warriors just signed Kevin Durant. The Cavs have got to go out and make a big splashy move. Sometimes the moves aren't there. They're not there. You can't force another team to make a move. Hey, Nets, give us Cam Johnson now. Yes, sir. Doesn't work like that. It's tough. Making a move is tough. Making a trade is tough. Getting through this show on August 2nd, an NBA show. It's actually kind of easy. So I could keep going. Trying to think what else. To me, the one thing I'm wondering about the Cavs, and I'll wrap it up after this, is are they just going to have Craig Porter Jr. be number 1 backup to Darius Garland? I like Craig Porter Jr. I think he's probably ready for a regular backup role. But I do think that the Cavs need to sign a veteran point guard. I don't think it would kill them to sign a John Wall. And John Wall didn't play in the NBA last season. He got, he was traded back from the Clippers to the Rockets in 2023. In February 2023, Rockets immediately waived him. He hasn't been in the NBA since that year with the Clippers, and he wants to return. He's been working out for teams. I don't think the Cavs are among them, but he did work out for teams in Las Vegas during Summer League. He's 33 years old. That last season with the Clippers, he averaged 13.5 points and 6 or 7 assists. I'm not saying the Cavs need to sign John Wall specifically, but I think that they could use another point guard, kind of like a Ricky Rubio role, who's a veteran, who's been around the block. If Garland gets hurt, then you have, say, I'm going to keep using John Wall as the example, then you have John Wall, Craig Porter Jr. I think you feel a little more comfortable winning games with a veteran guy. So I think their needs are, and they recognize this, we probably need a veteran point guard to back up. Even if he backs up Craig Porter Jr., that's okay. You could have the depth chart be Darius Garland, Craig Porter Jr., John Wall. Doesn't have to be John Wall as the first sub off the bench as a point guard. But just for that assurance. And somebody like John Wall, I'll tell you, would come in and say, you know what, I'm happy. He has come out and said, I'd be happy just to be kind of a coach during practice. That's how badly I want to get back in uniform. So I think a guy like that, who, by the way, is also represented by Rich Paul, who is the agent for Darius Garland, somebody like that might be able to help you if you can get him for cheap. And you could. But you have to weigh other things. How would he impact the locker room? How would he make, other guys feel? You'd have to explain to Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell and Craig Porter Jr., this guy's not coming to take your minutes. He's coming to help in a pinch. And I think that, to me, that's somebody I would talk to. I'd say, look, what's your interest in coming here on a minimum deal? Because they could use we need the help. They're going to have to do something in the front court. Okay? You're going to have to get a backup true center. Can't just be Marcus Morris. You're going to have to find a backup true center. And maybe that guy is a G Leaguer. Maybe it's a guy who we just saw in Summer League, who's a rookie with, you feel like you can develop him and turn him into something, at least a serviceable backup. Maybe it's a veteran. I don't know. I haven't checked the list lately. We updated it today, but I don't remember off the top of my head, believe it or not, of what other big men free agents are out there. Maybe after the show, we can check the list. And by we, I mean you. So, I think that's about it. Look, Isaac Okoro, I think the next time we have a show, we're probably going to be talking about him. Next week, I'm going to be on vacation. So unless something really breaking, probably won't do a show next week, but we'll be right back to it for NFL kickoff. How about it? Speaking of the NFL, Hall of Fame game last night. It only lasted 3 quarters thanks to our 330 to go weather. I'm not blaming the website. 330 to go area code. I can't say 330 anymore without following it with to go. I even was talking to one of my friends and I said, here in the 330 to go, he's like, why are you yelling out the name of the booming Facebook page, Instagram page, and YouTube conglomerate, I guess is what it is. By the way, after this show, I'll be fired for not being able to specify exactly the platforms that are available. 330 to go is available. But anyway, I think that's probably the 2 big things to watch with the Cavs right now. Could always pull off a surprise. Kobe Altman's really good. Here we go. There we go. The DJ Brobot 330 to go. Okay. Yeah. I need to familiarize myself with that quickly. And hello to whoever just said hello. It's very nice of you. But yeah, Isaac Okoro, Marcus Morris. I think Marcus Morris, real possibility. I know not many of you would be excited about that, but I think many of you who saw him with the Cavs last year greatly appreciate him. So, and I think with good reason. He offered a dynamic that I felt like the Cavs needed. A guy who brought an edge, a veteran guy, um, willing to do anything. If it means ride the pine for 3 straight games and then play in 5 straight, he's fine with that. So, or at least he sure seemed fine. And that's hard to find. So, I think Marcus Morris, real possibility. I think Isaac Okoro is going to be back. What that means for Jalen Tyson, Amani Bates, it's going to cut into their opportunity, although things could change. So anyway, with that in mind, I'm seeing some things I need to get up on the website here. And believe it or not, yeah, still doing a website. But yeah, we had the Hall of Fame game, which is pretty cool. I know it was just the Bears and the Texans, and it was rained out or stormed out in the third quarter. But football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. And I'm sure during the course of this show, moving forward, you will probably hear me complain or praise about our beloved Cleveland Browns. So with that in mind, thanks so much for joining. We will talk to you, if not next week, the possibility exists, but probably in 2 weeks. So we'll see you then. Thanks for joining.